I might grab a bat, I don't know, my wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough.
All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack 2022 Fantasy Football Team Previews. We're going to be covering the Denver Broncos, and to do that with me is Mr. Mike LaPlant. And let's just jump right into it, shall we?
Absolutely.
With the quarterbacks and the much different looking quarterback room there in Denver, finally looking like they have a real quarterback for once since, Peyton Manning?
Absolutely.
So Russell Wilson sitting there at overall 92, quarterback 12 in the expert consensus rankings over there on Fantasy Pros. You know, there's a lot to unpack here with the Russ Wilson trade or signing over there, and so he goes to a team with some good weapons. Wide receivers kind of probably the same, if not slightly worse. DK was kind of a beast. The running game is going to be phenomenal. So there's where I want to go with it. So he's got a much improved run game, right? He's got much improved defense, right? So does Russ Wilson now kind of take a step back and maybe not be a kind of locked in QB1 for us this year?
I wouldn't yet call him a game manager. But yes, he is that quarterback one fringe, like 12, 13, somewhere in that range. I love the new coaching staff with Nathaniel Hackett. And his thing was, when he was in Green Bay, he let Aaron Rodgers, a very intelligent quarterback, like Russell Wilson, lead that offense. I mean, he gave him full reins to it. And I kind of see it being the same way. You're going to have your weeks where Russell Wilson's going to take what he gets from the defense and throw 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have his weeks where he's, defense isn't allowing him to throw, but man, it looks like the Chargers defense and they can just run down their throats. But yeah, he's going to be inconsistent, but it's going to land him right around QB 12 at the end of the year. When we see it all done.
I kind of agree. It was funny, on that Sunday morning start sit show that we do with you, me, and Dylan. There was a few weeks, man, right around that, when he came back from the injury, it was like you cannot start Russ Wilson. He looked bad, and he didn't. I mean, he picked it up at the very end of the year. Shockingly enough, he actually finished points per game QB 13.
Wow.
Even with those bad games. So you got to figure he's going to fall right in that, the bottom end of the QB1 range. He just doesn't run as much anymore.
Absolutely.
We're not going to get 70, 80, 90 rushing attempts from him anymore.
I was just going to say, yep. He dropped about 40 rushing attempts. I know he missed a couple games obviously, but he dropped about 40 rushing attempts from last year to this past year.
Yeah. So, he's still gonna do his scrambling thing around, and holding the ball probably longer than he needs to. That's just kind of his thing. But he's gonna have to utilize that running game that is top notch. And let's get to that.
Jump right to it.
And we got Javonte Williams at overall 17, running back 12. Melvin Gordon sit there at 86 and 37. Mike Boone and Demaria Crockett rounding out the room there. But Javonte Williams and Mel Gordon is where it's at, and there was a lot of hope, I guess, from all the fantasy people out there that Mel Gordon was not going to re-sign, but he did. And so we are back to the potential of a 50-50 split, and it was exactly that last year, 203 rushing attempts apiece. Are we going to get Williams kind of taking maybe 65% of this, 60% of this year, or are we looking more at the 50-50 split again?
Unfortunately, it's going to be that 50-50 split, I think. I know we want that breakout season, and it was going to happen until Melvin Gordon re-signed again,
Yeah.
which was a great team move. Just bad for fantasy for
Yeah.
Javonte Williams.
Just another crowded backfield. Like, just give us one, guys. Give us one.
See, the thing that separates the two is the passing game, and it was made clear last year. I mean, obviously split right down the middle, rushing attempts, but they got about 20, 25 different targets or more targets for Javonte compared to Melvin Gordon. But if we're talking in relevance with ADP, I think Melvin Gordon's your safer bet.
Yeah, 100% agree. I might have a couple of shares of Williams, but I'm probably going to have a lot of Mel Gordon at this ranking and this price. I'll tell you, my ranking is higher than this for him. It is not RB37. It is, I mean, you're talking the likes of guys like Tony Pollard and Rashad Penny and just guys. I mean, like bunch of, look, Mel Gordon is an RB, in a timeshare, but we're talking like handcuffs. Like they're getting 30% of the workload. I think Gordon's going to get way more than that, and he's much safer.
Every one of those running backs in that zone, you're hoping for an injury, and nobody hopes for an injury, but that's what it's going to take.
That's what it's going to take. So I am all in on taking shares of Gordon at this price tag.
Absolutely. 1A for, if you want to call him handcuff or your timeshare backs. He's your 1A, I think, for this year.
Yeah. I mean, the wheels are going to fall off eventually for Gordon. It just,
it's the touchdowns that stay consistent.
It is. Yeah, he has a nose for the end zone for
8
sure.
8 touchdowns for the past 3 years. I mean,
yeah,
even with the limited workload.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into those receivers, though, and this is a very interesting topic here for this team as well, thanks to the arrival of Russell Wilson. And so
finally,
now we've got
to throw the ball.
Right. So now we've got Courtland Sutton sitting here at overall 65, wide receiver 25. We got Jeudy at 67 and 27. So they're your top dogs there. Mr. Tim Patrick, always underrated in my opinion, 166 and 59. KJ Hamler, Kendall Hinton, Montrell Washington, but Sutton and Jeudy. Look, their price tags are pretty much the same, and it's a matter of like who do you prefer is really what the question comes down to. Is do you prefer Sutton or is it Jeudy? Who do you prefer now that Wilson is in Denver?
I think it's like you said, it's a personal preference. What type of fantasy football player are you? Are you a guy that chases ceiling? Are you a guy that kind of likes to play it safe? You don't. The old adage, and I know it's not the first round, but you can't win your league in the first couple of rounds, but you can absolutely lose it.
Yes.
And that's where I'm usually with the safer kind of guys. I love the high ceiling, and that's what I go for in the back of the draft, obviously. But I'm definitely leaning more Sutton personally, just because of all the chatter as well. When it tends to be 50-50 like this, it kind of being about maybe 55-45, whatever. I tend to lean the chatter you're hearing. And we saw last year with Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, with the new quarterback in town, Cooper Kupp was the guy getting to know Matthew Stafford. And that's what I'm hearing. Courtland Sutton's the guy running routes with Russell Wilson in the offseason. And I know this is fantasy football, but, great news for Jerry Jeudy, them dropping the charges with what he was dealing with. But that's even more time he missed with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's less chemistry being built. So I just feel like the safer one is Courtland Sutton, but obviously Jerry Jeudy, the talent, the ceiling is there.
Yeah, I've actually got it. I've actually got it reversed. I see your side of it. I've actually got it reversed. I want Jeudy.
Understandable.
I think the immense talent that he had coming out of Alabama just got stuck with bad quarterback play after bad quarterback play. Although Sutton figured it out though. Like Sutton was still able to get his most of the time, and Tim Patrick was able to figure it out. Judy's never quite did. I'm not really sure what the problem was, but I would hope that Wilson, can work with Jeudy enough and unlock him. That's where I'm at with him. I don't honestly know if I'm gonna have many shares of either one, to be honest with you. But I will say, in all the mocks that I keep doing with you guys, I seem to be landing on Jeudy a lot because he's just falling in that range for me. Like, and you guys keep letting him slip, and I'm like, well, fine, I'll jump on the grenade, I suppose. But,
yeah, like it's funny you say that because it works the same way with me with the mocks I've been doing, the couple startups I've been doing. I've been getting Courtland Sutton at like a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, and I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
The safety right there at a wide receiver 3 is I love it, but absolutely the ceiling with Jeudy at a wide receiver 3 is phenomenal too.
Yeah.
So that you can argue it both ways.
Yeah, and then obviously Tim Patrick will get picked up at some point and be a week winner for you guys. He's just it will happen somehow because he's just awesome.
Picking the week, though.
I know. Well, it's whenever one of these guys is injured. Like that's what's gonna be. Hey, Patrick is just super underrated. I wish he could go somewhere where he wasn't the wide receiver 3. But
yeah.
All right, let's finish things off here with the tight ends, and we've got Mr. Albert O. Overall 120, tight end 14, Greg Dulcich, and then just a couple guys here. So Albert O, we got no Noah Fant anymore. Nope. Obviously, a lot of people were always high on Noah Fant. I think that the talent is there for Fant. It's just the volume, the targets weren't there, and granted that's the quarterback play that they had too. Like that just affected him big time. So real quick, do we see Albert O being a fantasy relevant tight end consistently now that Russell Wilson's there?
No, he's going to be your, dynasty or DFS target. Redraft value, he's going to be your late end dart throw like a Dawson Knox last year. He's going to be in supposedly a good offense, but Russell Wilson has never really utilized the tight end like a number 1 or number 2 threat in his offense, at least. That could have been a Pete Carroll thing. We'll find out.
Will Disley had some moments, man. When he was healthy, man, Will Disley was like
wasn't there.
Well, but no, there was a time where Will Disley was like straight up tight end 1 for like weeks, and then he got hurt, and that was the problem with him. So yep. I like me some Will Disley. It always a place in my heart. He took me far one year, but yeah, I'm with you though. Alberto's dealing with a lot. And there's a lot of players to spread the ball around, and I'm just not sure Alberto's going to get the target share that we all would hope he could. He's going to be touchdown dependent for sure.
I'd be surprised if he got as much as Noah Fant did, honestly.
Yeah, well, that was great. Like 9 touchdowns and 54 catches or something nuts like that. But all right, well, that's it for the Denver Broncos. I want to thank you for tuning in and watching and listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave those comments. We appreciate it, and make sure you tune in to the rest of our team previews. See ya.
Love you guys.